느껴진 감정들은 위험해 숨 참고 들이쉬어 난 다시 mirror해.
Today, I wanted to share how I made my new song turn dope. So let's check out the session. I usually organize my folders like this. They're the instruments and special effects like my signature. Bass elements are also grouped together, drums, and vocals. Yeah, this is pretty much it. The story that I wanted to write with this song was about someone who has trust issues, who is definitely falling in love, but doesn't really want to admit it. I thought the chords really represent what that emotion is likely going to be. So it's C minor 7, G minor 7, A flat 9th, and B flat 9th. I always write the chords first when I start a song, and the reason is quite simple. It's easier for me to actually set the tone of the song, and also I always want to have the subject matter in hand before I actually start writing the lyrics or adding top lines. So the first half of the song is quite balladic. The guitar lead.
지금 느껴진 감정들은 위험해 숨 참고 들이쉬어 난 다시 mirror해 말할게 한테 네 맘을 절대 주지 마.
I wrote this song in 2023, and originally the song was not really trap soul. It wasn't really modern. It was more of a slow jam 1980s R&B type of vibe. So if you listen to the demo, this is what it sounds like.
묻지 마.
So it's very live drum based. At least that's what I intended to do. But we can see that the new version, the drums are actually fairly modern, and the basses as well. It's not a bass guitar, it's an 808. And you add melodies to that. So we can see that it's a more modern R&B trap soul type of vibe, but I wanted to preserve some of that slow jam-esque style, so I have live drum fills instead. But what's really important for this bridge, it's not just the melody, it's more about the vocal chop here. This is what it sounds like. So this is actually my voice pitched up.
Not your sleep if you're baby in your room watch the stars that tremble with love and hope dissolve the silence that makes you mine.
So the lyrics are actually a direct translation of Nessun Dorma, the song in the opera Turandot. It says, "Non shall sleep," and that's what Nessun Dorma means from what I know.
Not your sleep if you're baby in your room watch the stars.
Did a lot of processing into it. I distorted it. I added like a lot of reverb, delays, and also did a lot of stereo imaging. That's it for the bridge. For the verses, we start with the same instruments as the bridge. It's a Rhodes with a piano lead. Very simple drums, just a kick and a clap. And a little bit of ambience. I always like to have that ear candy whenever I'm writing songs that are a bit melodic. This is, like continuously happening in the song. It's a vocal chop. But what's really interesting in the verse is actually the bass element is not an 808 like the bridge. In the verse, I instead put a bass guitar, which is kind of opposed to relatively modern drum elements. Now, let's move on to the hook. The hook is where the energy mostly lies. The drums are fairly fast, as you can see. The bass line for this is a respace. The bass slightly moves, and I did that with a resonant filter. So it's originally like this, but with Filter Freak. We see a lot of instruments as well. We have keys, brass, pads, bells, and harps. At the back, there's a little bit of ambiance as well. This is like almost just inaudible, to be honest, because there's also main vocals at the top, but I wanted a little bit of that background eerie environment, and I think it worked, at least for this song. So it's very condensed, it's a very tight production.
느껴진 감정들은 위험해 숨 참고 들이쉬어 난 다시 mirror해 말하게 한 테니 맘을 절대 주지 마 강 넘은 세상에서 살아가는 내 마음을 이해할 수 있을까 그댄 So 웃으면서 언제 또 볼지 묻지 마
Now things also become a bit more hip, as in I add a little bit of a hip-hop element. And you have hi-hats. Same instruments, but I added just a strum of guitar chords.
Get official, it's time to get real now. The ball's in your court, you're bluffing, I know. Understand when I thought 나를 또 떠나려거든 조금이 책임져 warning 그래도 나는 불평은 안 해 어차피 상처는 추억이 돼.
And we return back to the bridge.
Just set me free.
What I also want to talk about in the bridge section, I have very wet ad-libs for this song. I'm not really an ad-lib guy, to be honest, as in I don't know what to add for ad-libs. I'm almost just like mechanically adding ad-libs for the sake of adding ad-libs sometimes. But for this song, I put in my ad-libs to have like a slow jam type of feel where the ad-libs are almost acting as a sort of FX and like an instrumental purpose instead of trying to enhance the vocals. Very wet. I added H delay and crystalline. I think it goes really well with the vocal chop, so I'm pretty happy with how the ad-libs came about. We have the hook repeated again.
지금 느껴진 감정들은 위험해 숨 참고 들이쉬어 난 다시 mirror해 말하게 한 테니 맘을 절대 주지 마 강 넘은 세상에서 살
That's pretty much it on how I made Turned Out. Please stream Turned Out. It's available on every music platform, and also watch the music video as well. Thanks.
강 넘은 세상에서 살아가는 내 마음을 이해할 수 있을까 그댄 So 웃으면서 언제 또 볼지 묻지 마